Welcome to NothingisOB South Texas Golf Podcast with your host, Andy Torres. All right, guys, welcome to NothingisOB South Texas Golf Podcast, episode 73. I have on a special guest tonight. I have on Annabelle Reyna. She is a collegiate golfer for the University or the Our Lady of the Lake University Golf Program here in San Antonio, Texas, and also she is the Blackbird Golf Scholarship recipient. All right, for 2021. We're going to talk a little bit with one of her mentors, one of the co-founders and owners from Blackbird Golf later on in this interview. Welcome, Annabelle. How are you doing this evening?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Doing a little bit better than you. At least I got to finish at least 9 holes of golf today.
Yeah, I needed that.
Well, let's get right into it. Why don't you tell everybody just a little bit about your golf journey here in town? Now, we know you're a golfer, you're a freshman. You just completed your freshman year at Our Lady of the Lake University, playing for the Saints. Now, how did you get to where you are right now?
Well, my golf journey all began with Kathy Gonzalez out of Harris Middle School. It's a really fun story, actually. I was an avid tennis player, and going into Harris, I joined the tennis team, and my goals for Harris were that I wanted to play all the sports that were offered to me, just to kind of get myself out there, see what I liked. And one day, she came up to me towards the end of my tennis season, and she was like, "Hey, Annabelle, you have a really great," and she was a very stern golf coach. If you don't know Kathy Gonzalez, she was very stern, very strict. Everybody, including myself, was pretty scared of her. So she came up to me towards the end of tennis season, and she said, "Hey, Annabelle, I really like your tennis swing. You absolutely need to come play golf for me." And it was kind of like, do I have a choice, really? So I remember coming home one day, telling my parents, like, Coach Gonzalez is making me play golf for her. I don't know if I want to play golf. Golf seems kind of boring. And, with the support of my parents, they told me, like, hey, you want to try new things. Nothing, you'll get over an obstacle either way. So I wound up, trying it. And I just fell in love with it. I picked up a club, and it was just something I felt really great doing. And, I played it again in 8th grade. And then I told myself going into high school that, I knew I wasn't going to grow anywhere near 6 feet tall to be able to have a chance for volleyball or basketball. And, I knew I had to narrow down my sports in high school. And my goal was to always be a collegiate athlete. No matter what sport it was, I was going to figure out some way to get there. And, playing golf throughout high school, I knew that, okay, if I really put all my time and effort into this, and hard work, of course, that, it can possibly get me somewhere, that, coaches won't look for height or anything like that. And then, 5 years later, after that encounter with Coach Gonzalez, here I am. And it's really taken me, on a lot of ups and, of course, a lot of downs throughout this journey, which I'm grateful for all of them.
Now, would you think, because I know this year being part of the Saints golf team, you traveled to, we talked about Iowa, you traveled to Vegas. Now, do you think anything outside of golf would have helped take you there?
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Now, I got some coaches gave a little bit of insight to Annabelle. Now, a lot of the things that I'm hearing from Coach Martinez, I got a quote from Coach Martinez: hard worker, gritty, never gives in. And those are the type of people I love to surround myself with. And it seems like it's kind of like God's way of just making sure that I'm always surrounding myself with these type of quality people. And I love to hear that as being a teacher and a coach myself, having two daughters that play sports and are in their extracurricular activities. What do you think, or where do you think that you've got that hard work mentality and that grittiness? Where does it come from?
Definitely, like it comes from all around my family. You know, my both my parents are hard workers in anything they do, whether it's around the house, you know, at work, even down to my grandparents. They're, you know, both sets of grandparents are very hard workers, even down to, you know, great aunts and uncles. Um, you know, because as at a young age, I was taught that nothing is going to be handed to me because I'm a, you know, I'm a minority and I'm a female, and especially playing in a man sport, you know, this isn't something that's, oh, you know, here here you go, here's a few strokes here and there. No, like I quickly learned that I have to fight for, you know, every shot out on the golf course and every step I take, you know, in real life too. And thankfully, both my parents taught me that, how to just, you know, stay on the right path. Um, and working hard will always get me further than talents. And, you know, just I shouldn't say talents, but you know that working hard will continue me down the right path in anything I do, whether it's career related, school, or even golf, of course.
Now, I know one of your mentors very well, Demonte Alexander. Now, I'm sure it took a special person to be the initial and to be the first recipient of their scholarship for the Blackbird, scholarship this past year. Now, what do you think? Do you have to live up to a certain standard because other people are are counting on you, or other people are watching you, and or do you just want to really be a role model for other people to kind of lift them up?
Kind of, I aspire to be both. You know, at the same time, I would like to, you know, help, especially like the new coming scholarship recipient that will be receiving a scholarship this year. You know, I would like to kind of be in Demonte's shoes as he is for me, kind of like help them. You know, hopefully they play golf as well, and I'm able to, you know, give them what it's like being a, you know, after um, my first year experience at the Lake, and but at the same time, I think standards aren't high out of like others. I know I set standards really high for myself. So, you know, trying to reach my own standards, sometimes it's can be a little bit frustrating, but um, you know, I know that once I get there that there's only a higher goal I need to reach. You know, just based off me and what I aspire to be.
Now, in speaking to your coaches and speaking to several people when I posted that I was going to have you on the show, I had a lot of people chime in with some great stuff, right? Some great dirt. One of my good buddies, Coach Mark Pettis, he used to be the head coach there at Burbank, and I know he's at Breckenridge High School now. He said, I guess it's your grandfather was on the board there for SAISD when he was there, and he said that you come from a long line of just good people, good quality people in front of you. And what do you think as what do you think some of the things that you had to struggle or overcome with in going into your freshman year and being a student athlete?
Definitely, once again, my own expectations. You know, I set them pretty high going into my first tournament, my second tournament, even all the way down to conference. Of course, not just on the golf course, but in school as well. I wanted to, you know, maintain that 4.0 GPA, and um, you know, with the little push of me having an academic scholarship, it's like, oh, I need to reach this kind of GPA to be able to, you know, maintain that scholarship and things like that. And so I think with that, you know, playing a huge factor, um, just my competitiveness really makes that push for me.
Now, what were some of the toughest things that you had to deal with this past season? Like, I know you told me of a situation that you had when you went to conference and it was just like freezing cold and you had all these layers. Like, what was some of maybe one of the toughest things that you had to deal with that you were uncomfortable? Because I've talked to so many golf pros and so many people. Like it's like you have to become comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yes, yeah, and that's something I've really learned a lot. This past my first season here. Um, Probably, I mean, yeah, like you said, you got to learn to be uncomfortable. Um, I want to say the greatest challenge was probably conference. Like I knew, the pressure's on a little bit more, and for probably the first two, maybe three holes, even that pressure was really truly for me. Which I feel like I really like that pressure. I enjoy, all right, like this is game time for me. I gotta get my shoes on, my hat tighter, and it's go time. Like this is everything I've been working for. Um, Probably the other challenge at conference was wearing all those layers for sure. And then in Vegas, it was super windy out there. So learning to adapt to that, on the go, because that's when we don't get down here in Texas. Learning how to adapt to that quickly, really, I felt like I grew like a stronger mentality just after the first round, and then going into the second round even.
Well, I got one of your coaches right here chiming in. Coach Ali Trevino, cough, push cart, cough. All right. So tell me what happened there.
That's Coach Ali's favorite memory right now. um, so we were in conference, and on the first day, it was like I said, it was pretty cold. But that evening after our first round, it started raining. All throughout the night, even into early morning, and both coaches suggested that we don't use our push cart for the second round. Because it's wet, the hills are just angles. That it'd be a lot harder to push, and so it wasn't too much of a like something I was afraid to do. I was like, okay, if that's what and coming from where I come from, like not having those coaches that really are kind of at the level that Coach Ali and Coach Arnie are at. I was like, okay, well, I trust these coaches with all my heart and more. Like, they know what they're talking about a lot more than I do, so I'll do it. So I carried my bag that 18, and it wasn't anything too crazy for me. But we got to the airport and loaded up our carts and stuff. And when we get back in Austin, my push cart is in two separate pieces coming out of the, and I mean, it was funny, but at the same time, it was something that I was like, okay, that's it. There was a reason why I didn't use my push cart today. And now going into next semester, will I even have a push cart? So that's something that I know Coach Ali had a little blast over, but I know mentally too. It was something that I felt that God was like, okay, well, this is here to make you tougher. You got to figure out your way around it. So that's what I think. Um, One of the bigger mental strengths that I got just out of that experience.
Now, it seems like all your coaches, they're all saying the same things. Now, we're gonna have one of your mentors on here later. Now, I know one thing that what has the relationship or what has the scholarship or being the initial scholarship recipient from the Blackbird Golf Company, what do you think that has meant to you?
Oh, it's meant the world to me. I mean, not just receiving the scholarship, but of course I'm grateful for that. But receiving the mentorship from Demonte and Thor was just that was priceless. That was a check that you couldn't give me to replace them to. It's the connection makes it seem like I've known them for my entire life, when really I haven't even known them for a year yet. And just the things I'm able to come with at Demonte, like hey, I'm doing this on the course, or I'm thinking this, or I want to be here, how do I get here? And with his great support and knowledge of the game, as of course, as well as my coaches, I feel especially Demonte is one to really push me out there and give me a hard time too. But at the end of the day, I know it's to mentally toughen me up for what comes next.
Well, you know what? Since he's already on, let's go ahead and bring him on a little bit earlier than usual. All right. I have on Blackbird co-founder Demonte Alexander. How's it going tonight, Demonte?
I am blessed and highly favored, my brother. How about you?
Oh man, I'm so thankful for you to be on the show. Why don't you tell us just how proud are you of this young lady, Annabelle?
Man, there's no words. There's no words. Everything that she talked about and her family, the way they talk about um, just the mental toughness and just everything that she's gone through. So we have a very, very vigorous and competitive scholarship process. So there is a scholarship committee that I have that was formed by PhDs in education. I had no part in it. Once those application processes open and they come in, they vet all the applications to make sure that they meet all the qualifications and financials and all those, because they're needs-based scholarships. So we're not just passing out scholarships to anybody who wants it. We want to make sure that whoever gets that scholarship, it's really meaningful to them. And so each one of those recipients had to write letters on why this was important to them. I mean, I can tell you, every letter that I read made me cry. Annabelle's was one of those, because you felt how important it was to her and what it meant to her to receive a scholarship and what that money would do. And to what she alluded to earlier is that it just didn't stop at the check. I call Annabelle probably every week sometimes just to talk, trash to her. Just because I haven't heard from her, or if she doesn't call me in 5 days, I'm like, what, you just dropped me like a bad habit or what? But for the most part, it's just, for me, it's the ongoing support that you really needed. Because when you really talk about grow the game, it's not about getting free golf or getting access to the course. I mean, life is a growth process. It's a process to get through all those things. It's one thing to get on the course. It's one thing to get on the team. There's also challenges you go through with your swing and with your team and with just so many things and so we just make it intentional to be with them regardless of what it is. If you need an extra wedge or a putter or a travel bag to go to Vegas, we're there for them when we need them, and we use every resource we have to be there for them. So,
and that's one thing that she did state to me. She did say that your mentorship has really made a big impact on her. And I think we all need somebody, we all need somebody. And
right.
It seems like all the letters and all the people that were involved in the scholarship process, it seems like it was just a perfect fit.
Yeah, it was, man. And like her family came, and when we gave out the checks, man. And so what's happened, we've been a little over almost 2 years now, or maybe a year and a half now. So what started as an apparel company is slowly evolving into something greater. It's not even about our apparel anymore. It's funny that we talk about it that way, because we're becoming more of a foundation that's a wraparound support for young minority golfers, men, women, who want to get in the game and be successful in the games, which is why we partnered with the Cameron Champ Foundation. And so I went down to Houston to the Mac Champ Invitational and got a chance to meet Cameron Champ's dad. We became good friends. He asked me, I was there helping them, and they just asked me about Blackbird because I was wearing my stuff. And they felt so good about what we were doing and say, well, hey, we should be doing something together. And so obviously by having Cameron Champ associated with his foundation associated with Blackbird Golf definitely gives us a layer of credibility that we needed. And so now, instead of giving one scholarship, an annual scholarship, we're giving a 4-year scholarship up to $10,000, which so they'll receive $2,500 for 4 years, totaling $10,000. With the new scholarship going on. So of course, Annabelle didn't get a piece of that, but I think Annabelle has received $50,000 in love and support from us. So,
well, I truly think that Annabelle's been the perfect, I guess the perfect to be the one, right? To be the one to really kind of set everything off.
She's such a great ambassador for the game. She's such a great ambassador and role model for her community. When you look at who Blackbird is, Annabelle is Blackbird. Like, she's the vision of what blue collar family, hardworking family, not spoon fed, not the best coaches, not a lot of resources, but through hard work and perseverance and belief in herself and good values, believe me, she challenges me on stuff, and I'm a grown man, And so I've tested her a couple of times with, for example, Annabelle will make a decision or a commitment to something, and I will call her to try to ask her to do something else, and she will push me hard. It's like, no, Demonte, I made a commitment, and I need to follow through. And I say, look, I respect that, and so I told her that, and so she's the epitome, she's the vision of what we are, who Blackbird wants to be for this community. And so we got lucky. We got really lucky with Annabelle, and she's been the face of Blackbird for a little over a year and a half now. We do have Michael Bradham, who's playing for the APGA Tour. He'll be back in San Antonio in July for good, which is great. We'll have him back in San Antonio. And so the only thing that's changed other than the Cameron Champ sponsorship is now the scholarship recipients will have to be pursuing a golf career. So we're kind of being more intentional about that.
And that's great. And Annabelle, besides the mentorship and the scholarship, do you think that you have you got this kind of, you have to keep these goals going, right? You have to keep getting bigger and bigger and doing things, because you are going to have these past recipients. Is like you're going to be kind of like the mother of all these other scholarship recipients.
Yeah, I think, like you said earlier, setting the example is something necessarily I always want to strive for, but just, I guess, to be there to push others. Like, hey, you can do better than that. Like, that's something I'm pretty hard on myself too, with like, I can hit this shot, or I can make this grade on this test, or whatever it may be. And like Demonte said, he's there pushing me and telling me, you should try. The few times we've played, same thing. He's out there pushing me, and everything is to make me better in the end. And that's, like I said, what I'm truly grateful for him and everything he's done for me.
All right, Demonte, I'm going to take you off right here, and then I'll bring you back here later on. Now, I have a video of your coaches right here. Some of your coaches chimed in, and they had a few words for you. All right, guys, now I have Tony Torres here. He's the assistant coach out at Our Lady of the Lake. And also he is a professional instructor out at Fort Sam Golf Course. How you doing today, Tony?
Good. Glad to be here.
Well, thank you, man. Now, I know you're an instructor and a coach for Annabelle Reyna. Now, why don't you just tell us just a little bit of how far she's come as a golfer, but also as a person?
Well, it's her first year in college. She just finished up her freshman year. So a little bit of transition for her to get out of high school mode and get into the college mode of golf. She was usually our 3-4 on the team when we traveled, and she's came a long ways. She's not happy with the way she played her first freshman year, but I've told her 100 times, like, this is college golf. It's completely different than high school. You just finished your first freshman year. We went to conference. We got some experience. Now we know what we need to work on going forward.
Now, what would you say is her biggest strength?
Her work ethic is it's crazy good. She's a kid where if you show her how to do something once and you do another lesson with her, you don't have to show it to her again. She'll go spend 40 hours that week just working on what we're fixing with her swing, working on her swing.
What would you say is probably the thing that she needs to work on the most?
I think just manage expectations. We as golfers have a tendency to set our standards too high, and we all want to shoot 72 or 65 or whatever your number is. And realistically, when you play in a tournament, there's tournament scores and there's regular with the guy scores. And we just have to, I guess, lower our standards a little bit and play within ourselves, and then the game will come.
Now, what do you think the future holds for somebody as a good a person is as Annabelle is, and with that work ethic?
I think the sky's the limit for her. I think she finds a couple good coaches. She gets in some good tournaments. She plays well in college as we move up through her sophomore, junior, and senior year. And I know she'll develop. I mean, just this past month, her game has improved 30%. Her drives are longer, they're straighter. She's more accurate with her wedges. But that's a testament to her work ethic and what she does. But the sky's the limit for her. And I think she said she wanted to turn pro when she got out of college. And that's a big shoe to fill. But, you know, I just think she has the right attitude, the right mindset, the right support system to do whatever she wants when she, you know, as she grows up.
All right, Tony. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate your time today, brother.
Yes, sir. You have a good day.
All right, guys. I have Allie Trevino, Coach Allie Trevino, on from Our Lady of the Lake University. Allie, thank you so much for being on tonight.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. So why don't you tell us just a little bit about one of your student athletes, Annabelle Reyna?
Well, first off, this is my first year coaching at Our Lady of the Lake. I have been coaching for 13 years, and I finally had the opportunity from Coach Arnie Martinez to step up and help out with the women's team. And so I'm so thankful for everything that they have offered me as far as opportunity-wise and helping with the girls. Annabelle is just one of those people where she has such an infectious smile. Like every time she smiles, like you can't help but smile. She is definitely a hard worker. She wears her feelings out on her sleeve. And one thing that I learned very quickly is when she is not playing well, do not talk to her, right? Like we all have our own little, you know, nick and knacks and just different things that we do. And I'm the same way, you know what I mean? And so whenever I got to go to one of their tournaments, because I didn't get to go to very many tournaments because I had a job, right? And so when I did get to go to their tournaments, you know, I learned really quickly, Annabelle is very much like me, right? If I'm not playing well, don't talk to me, don't look at me, don't breathe the same air that I'm breathing, just let me figure it out. And I had to learn that the hard way with her. And so here recently we got to go to Vegas, and we got to go play over there. It was so beautiful, but it was so windy. It was like 50-mile-an-hour winds, and I'm not even exaggerating. There was some points where I didn't even like bother to get out of the cart because like I was just gonna get blown over, and it was so beautiful, but it was just so windy. And so I could tell like from her body language that she was having a tough time, as was everybody. And so her mom was there, and I was like, "Hey, Mom, can you ask her if she needs some water, because I'm not going to talk to her." So Annabelle is definitely, you know, a go-getter. She wears her feelings out on her sleeves, and you know, as an assistant coach, I'm one of her biggest supporters. As with all the girls, I want them to play well, because when we're at home, I know what they're capable of doing. But when we go to different places like Vegas, when we're put into 50-mile-an-hour wind, which we're not used to down here in San Antonio, you know, it makes you definitely grow, make sure it gives you a little bit of character. And she's got a lot of character for sure.
Well, it's nothing like the 30-mile-an-hour wind that's been out there this past weekend at Alice Station, you know, but you know what, it's been out there. Now, as you've grown accustomed in learning and growing with some of your student athletes, what do you think has been one thing that Annabelle has maybe done as she's progressed throughout this season?
So she definitely takes constructive criticism very well. I know some of my other athletes, not on Our Lady of the Lake, because I do coach multiple teams. You know, you'll tell them something and it kind of goes in one ear and then out the other. With Annabelle, she'll ask questions and she'll like probe, but why do I put my thumb here? You know what I mean? And so she's very intuitive, but she's very humble. And so when she trusts you with her swing, she wants to know why we're changing it. And ultimately we want to make her a better golfer. But she wants to know like the physics and the mechanics behind it. And I'm like, just do it. Okay. It's what you need to do. But Coach Arnie Martinez is really good with her and helping her form her swing. I know that she's started working with Robert Vasquez over at Fort Sam. And he is just, I try to send a lot of kids over to him as well. And he works, I call him Miracle Man. Like he just works miracles. Oh,
he is amazing. You know what? I almost think he's too positive sometimes. Yes. No, but Robert's the man. He's one of my good buddies, and he does some great work. Now, thank you so much, Coach, and we appreciate your time.
For sure. Thanks.
All right. So now you had your coaches chime in on you. All right. You had your coaches chime in on you, and everybody says a lot of the same things: hardworking, gritty, tough, coachable. Now, being a coach, being a father, those are some things that I find like amazing and just super likable in what you bring to the table. Now, as we got done with your coaches and we spoke to your mentor, let's get into some of the fun things that I always like to ask my guests. Favorite course here in town?
Definitely Riverside. I grew up playing there. They have my heart and soul over there, my blood, sweat, and tears, of course. Um, I grew up playing there, and that's where I picked up my first club, had my first tournament back at Harris Middle School, and then I go there all the time, and I just know everybody there. They let me get on, here and there, and I just love and it's like 10 minutes from home, so.
But it is San Antonio. You get a little bit of the river walk. You get a little bit of smells on the barbecue from the barbecue place down the street. You're deep in the hood. I feel like I'm back home in Corpus where I grew up. And then you get to see the hemisphere. You get to see downtown. You get it all. So I love that course. All right.
And G Girl is there too, the best.
You know what? That's what I told Ray. I said, man, you need to get the trailer out there, bro. I was like, I'm starving out there. And you know what? That's what I told Ray. It's like he needs to get the trailer out. Obviously you know him. You know Coach, right?
Yes. Yes.
I think he's one of the best dudes in the city.
Oh yes.
And you know what? I don't know. Have you ever had a chance to play with him yet?
No, not yet. We're too busy people.
Okay, well, I'm gonna tell you. I played with him I didn't play with him, but I played in the same tournament, and we were playing at TPC Canyons. And there's this like big not rumor, but there's like commotion going on right as we're making the turn, and everyone says, "Well, Ray Garza went 6 under the front 9," and I'm just like, "Dang!" Like, okay, this guy can go low, and I mean, but I think he ended up only shooting -9 on the tournament, but. I was like, oh, you only go -3 on the back, right? So I was like, I guess you're good at what you do. All right. Favorite golf memory?
It was probably most recent, actually. My very first collegiate tournament. I put my my shoes on, and it was just like it was all hitting me all at once. Like, okay, this isn't high school anymore. Like, I'm playing with people who are twice, 3 times better than me. And it was just it was I felt the pressure, but it was all good pressure. And then having not 1, not 2, but 3 coaches walking around the 18 holes with me, giving me advice, this and that. That's something I've never experienced before. Meeting people from not only across the state, but across the nation, even across the world. It was just all it was a lot to take in. And I was very, very proud, very excited for what the future held after that tournament. And I was ready to get the show on the road and see what the next 4 years can hold for me.
Favorite golf movie?
Happy Gilmore.
Favorite character from that movie?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Well, you got to give me one. I mean, who is it? Was it Happy? Was it Chubbs? I don't know.
Probably, well, between Happy and Chubbs, I guess. They're. I quote that movie all the time. Me and my dad, and Coach Tony now too.
It's you know what? I don't think you can if you don't like that movie, you can't play golf. You can't like golf.
Yeah.
All right. What's the biggest hurdle that you had to overcome to get to collegiate golf?
Definitely, there were probably several big hurdles in my path. Along the way, it was probably the lack of support coming out of being in high school, and the district I was in. I felt like all the support. I mean, of course, it's here in Texas. All the support was around football and volleyball. And I was kind of always thrown to the side, which was a lot to handle, mentally, I know. And then especially with golf being a mental game, it was just like kind of like, oh, well, nobody notices, nobody because I had a lot of people like, I'd introduce myself and they'd ask what sports I play, and they're like, "Oh, we have a golf team here at Burbank," and that was a lot. That was hard to keep up with. So even more so, I was like, well, the better, if I can do better, if I can, possibly get my name out there, just of course, by working hard, maybe I can make a name for myself here at Burbank, or make it known that Burbank has a golf team. Also my freshman and sophomore year, I had Robert Garcia as my coach here there at Burbank. But then he wound up leaving. So my junior and senior year, I was left with, no coach. It was just me. Yeah, well, I had a coach, but he was brand new to the sport. And so,
he just got assigned, right?
Yeah.
I know how that goes sometimes as a coach. I know how that goes.
Yeah. So, not having that. And then I know my last 2 years was, kind of where I, tighten everything up, and I worked 4 times as hard as I did the years before, because I knew I wanted to go to the next level, wherever that may have been, to play. And then, of course, like I said, being on my own, like my biggest and best coach throughout those 2 years was my dad and YouTube. I have to give credit to those two, because it was just something that I was like, okay, well, let me figure this out while I'm here at Riverside, and it's 7:30 at night. I can't see my balls anymore, but if I can figure it out, I'll be able to, to get up and go. So, with that, those 3 major hurdles there were a lot to take in. It took me a lot of speed to get over those hurdles. And I mean, it brought me here. And so now, of course, like I said, I trust Coach Arnie, Coach Tony, and Coach Allie with, 120% of what I have, and whatever they teach me, I'm 100% in, and wanting to try it, and to see where it takes me, and to hopefully get me to a greater level.
I got several people chiming in, and they're chiming in, and I love this is one thing I love about the show. I got Don Williams, the real deal, and Chris Espinoza, my man, great role model for the younger generation. Right on. He's right on point right there. And I got my buddy Arnold Garcia. Love the cap and gear, looking good. I mean, what can I say? I mean, they even make this old ugly man look good. So I got a lot of people, got a lot of people supporting you in your corner, and it seems like you've surrounded yourself with those great, positive people and successful people that you are who you surround yourself with. That's really one thing I've learned as a coach, as a father, as a golfer, and favorite YouTube channel.
Definitely yours, all the way.
No, hey, man, dang, there you go. I see Demonte right there. I see, man, this is why you're the scholarship recipient. Right there. That's it.
That's a funny story, because I haven't been, in this golf, this level of golf. It's my first year. So when Demonte, he texted me and posted about it, that he was going to be on the show with you, and I was like, oh, cool, like I'll get on and support. And I saw y'all, the things you were talking about, and so I was like, I wonder what all he talks about.
Oh man, no.
So I wound up, doing a little research myself, and going, in and out of your page. And then I see the first one I came across was Coach Arnie, and I was like, that guy looks familiar. I saw my other coach, Ray Garza. I saw him up there. And then, of course, Demonte I watched. That was the first one I watched. And then Christy Gano as well. And I was like, wow, it made me realize that golf is such a big yet such a small world. Because I know these people, and then these people, and it was kind of mind blowing. So, how big this game is, as Demonte says, we need to grow the game. I hope golf has actually opened a lot of doors for me, so I can just imagine hopefully what doors are to come the next future.
Oh man, again, Don Williams, Ray Garza, #1. Yeah, you know it. And you've, like I stated, I'm gonna say this again. You've surrounded yourself with some just, quality people. I know Demonte, I know Ray, and then Robert, and then Arnie and Allie. Man, like I wish I could say some bad things, but like I'm looking for some dirt. That's really what I am. I'm trolling the internet for them. I'm trolling the internet to find some stuff. But you know what? It's so funny how golf just brings so many people together, and it seems like a lot of these people they're finding each other, and they're finding each other through this amazing game. All right, so I'm going to take a quick break right here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play a little video for my sponsor, Blackbird Golf. Thank you to Thor and Demonte for supporting this podcast. Now the gear is pretty dope and it's pretty sweet. I was showing a lot of my buddies the pro towels, the visors. My head's not big enough to fit on the visors, so I gave one of my visors to my buddy. I was like, "Here, you're like a regular proportion sized person, so here you wear this visor." And I got a lot of my boys. They're like, "Man, we need some real men sizes, like some XXX, some XXX." And I always said, you know what? Golf is so huge here in San Antonio, and we finally get like our own golf apparel company. And we have Blackbird Golf, and I'm just like, you're wearing it right there. I mean, it's good quality stuff. And I was like, you know what? I said, you know what? I'm gonna put it to the test. I'm gonna wear it for a whole round at almost my first time. And you know what? Because sometimes the shirt's good, but it doesn't have the sunscreen. It's not protected, right? The UV rays, right? UV ray protected. And I said, I've had a lot of shirts that I still get sunburned. And you know what? I didn't get sunburned. I said, dang. I said, these guys weren't lying. It's great quality, good stuff. It makes this muffin top guy look somewhat slimming, somewhat athletic, and but not only as a company. And Demonte said that earlier. Not only as a company, they're doing some great things as opening doors for others. They've done it for yourself. And I'm looking forward to the new scholarship recipients. And I'm so thankful for their relationship. Now, one of the things right here that we're going to finish out before we get to Demonte is I'm going to bring a picture up. You got blessed with the opportunity to be on your first Wall of Fame there for Harris Athletics. Now, how did this feel to you?
Oh, I'm lost for words. It was, when Coach Kathy Gonzalez reached out to me, and said, we're getting this Hall of Fame here. You're going to be one of the first inductees. It was just, I was in shock, and I was like, wow, like I was honored enough to, pursue not only high school golf, and the other sports I played in high school, but to take it to a next level, to have Coach Gonzalez there, right by my side for the 6-7 years I've known her, and for her to give me this opportunity to be, one of the first, because at Harris for both my 7th and 8th grade year, I was the first athlete to ever play all 7 sports offered at Harris. So that was kind of,
oh, damn.
For me. Yeah. And then, unfortunately the football coach wouldn't let me play, but
you would have gone for them all, right?
To be the first there as well, and then to come back and kind of do it all over again with this first Hall of Fame it means a lot to me, knowing that, this is where I started. This is who got me to where I am now. And like I said, she's still, calling me up every now and then, asking how I'm doing, asking how my game is, if I need anything, and it's just, I'm so blessed and beyond grateful for everybody who's been by my side to see me, achieve this goal.
That's beautiful. And as a coach and teacher of 16 years, just completed my 16th year in the business. I truly believe that that's what a coach is supposed to be. I always try my best I'm sorry if I'm getting a little emotional here, because this is the stuff I love. You know, you are the prototypical student athlete that coaches look for. Somebody that can be encouraged, that can be coached, and coaches, you know, want to be in your lives even after you've left the school. And it seems like your coach, you know, has just really made an impact on your life. And shoot, 7 sports, like this is just a perfect example of why student athletes are what kids, they want to be athletes. They want to just be one select sport. No, the best athletes are the ones that could do multiple sports. And I mean, not like, I mean, 7, like seven sports. So that just tells me that not only are you an athlete, not only are you a golfer, but like you're a competitor, like an ultra competitor. And I got this great comment right here by one of the viewers, Gonzo Gonzalez Jr. My daughter has a huge smile seeing this interview. She is excited to continue golf. And I truly feel that this program, that this podcast, this show, this is what I try to do. You're the person that I'm always looking for, that you're that diamond in that rough, that gem, and that you're going to keep bringing other people to the game, and you're going to keep opening doors for the next great golfer to come out of Burbank, the next great golfer to come out of SAISD. And unfortunately, I'm going to tell you, unfortunately, the numbers aren't great for collegiate golfers coming out of SAISD. And I pray and hope, my daughter's going to Thomas Jefferson. My wife teaches at Thomas Jefferson High School, that more doors, and that they're going to see your success. They're going to see your picture up on the wall of fame, and that, yes, it can be done. Yes, you don't have to be you don't have to be one specific sport. You can play 7 sports and still make it into collegiate golf. And I just wanted to tell you, if I'm sure everybody else, you know, you have a lot of supporters, but I want to tell you that I'm proud of you. You make me a proud San Antonian that you're representing us.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Andy.
I got right here, On Par Golf. Great golfer, but an even better person. Future looking bright. Well, I'm mad at Ray or On Par Golf, whoever is putting this on, because that was my next line. All right. So Ray, you're always stealing my thunder. All right. So before we finish out with you, I'm going to bring Demonte back on, because we're going to talk about this great tournament that we have going on in October. It's the 2nd annual Blackbird Golf Invitational. Demonte.
Yes, sir.
Back on. So right here, I'm going to go ahead and bring up the picture that we have for the Golf Invitational. Now, right here, we have Blackbird Golf Scholarship Invitational, and we have a great sponsor. I think I know the gentleman that's heading up this sponsorship, presented by Goosehead Insurance. Yeah. Big Sean Sexton, the Sexton Agency from Goosehead Insurance.
Yeah, man. Sean is a good buddy of mine, and big shout out to Ray, man. Like, I'm just gonna just shout out Ray real quick, because I know you talked about dirt in the industry, right? There's a lot of crazy, gritty, grimy things that go on in the golf industry. And when I met Ray, he was the first person that I met that was a real stand-up dude. Like, what he says is what he means, and what he means is what he does. And one of the hardest working guys I know in the industry, and one of the guys that I trust. If Ray says something, I trust it, you know. And so I love all the work he's doing. He's really, really helping out Mission and the Alamo City Golf Trail, which I'm on the board of the Alamo City Golf Trail. So Ray does a fantastic job at Mission del Lago. He's also over at Cedar, and all the other things that he does with Rockin' G Grill and all those things. So, man, big shout out to Ray and everything he's doing. Man, I whatever Ray says, everybody should do, because that guy, everything he touches is gold.
I agree with you there.
On Par Golf. He also has the simulator over at Mission, which is great. You know, he has a TrackMan over there, which you rarely don't get that. You know, usually, you know, there's the top schools, or you have to pay really expensive fees to get access to that. So y'all go hit up Ray and On Par Golf. But yeah, the tournament, dude. The tournament, this is the fuel that generates our scholarship dollars. As you can see, we've stepped our game up a little bit this year with Sean Sexton, my boy Sean Sexton. I call him Big Sexy. He stepped up, and he is going to be our title sponsor this year. Hopefully, he continues to do that. But also, we're asking sponsors to sponsor students. So That's $2,500 for 4 years. So we're asking companies to make a commitment to that 4-year scholarship as well. As you can see, we have Documentation, who was our title sponsor last year. So Documentation take care of all of our print, anything that we have to print, like our signs, banners. Documentation underwrites that for us. And we have CPS Energy, and of course my beloved company that I work for, Via, which I haven't talked to yet, but they made a soft commitment to help me out. So that's just a few. We do have a lot more sponsors that have already made commitments. We do have our first meeting tomorrow, which I'm happy to share a lot of the good news. But anyways, it's our second annual. It'll be at the Quarry Golf Course on the 19th of October. As you can see the details there. We continue to be at the Quarry. The Quarry has one of the first ones when I launched the company to say, hey, look, you can put your apparel in our shop. We love the way it looks. And so I've always been loyal to the Quarry because they were the first ones to say, hey, man, look, we love what you're doing. We'll support you. So big shout out to the Quarry. And also you see our big partner, the Cameron Champ Foundation, which, their tagline is Walk With Us. They're now on board with us. So, we may be able to get Champ here. We're working through it. Just because it's the foundation don't mean we have access to him. He has his agents and all that stuff. So we're trying to see what we can do to bring some more star power to the tournament. But for right now, this is a huge step up from last year, and we're doing really, really well. So thank you for the support and helping us get the word out.
Well, I'm telling you, I think it's just everybody that's been involved. I think they see the quality person that Annabelle has as being the initial scholarship recipient. It's you got a great quality course, the Quarry. I mean, it's one of the gems, one of the the darlings here in San Antonio. Beautiful course, and again, I know Haley, a Hulkot out there, the Quarry. They're great. They're great people, and it seems like. You showed me some text, some pictures of the swag you got coming out for all those involved and for all those the goodie bags. So make sure, guys, any information I'm going to make sure to post them in the notes as well for Wednesday, October 19th, to be held at the Quarry Golf Course. Shotgun tee times at 1:00, but I know there's lunch before, awards after, and we see exactly where the money goes to. I think a lot of times you have, and I'm sure you played in a good amount of scrambles, especially with being a long driver as you are. Everybody's always inviting you left and right. That you want to make sure that you see exactly where the money goes, and you want to make sure that money is used for good, and not going in the pockets of other people. And I know for sure that we see the good and the fruition that this scholarship has done, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, let me tell you, man, the pressure is on because when we partnered with them, they said, well, Demonte, that year 2 is 5,000 and year 3 is 7,500 and year 4 is 10,000. So we'll have scholarship, in a 4-year span, we'll have 4 new scholarship recipients, but we're giving out money every year because they're 4 years. And so I was like, oh, so now I was like, okay, we just can't, we have to really step our game up and get organized. And we pulled it off last year, but it was, we pulled that off in like 4 months. We probably shouldn't have rushed it that way, but we got it done. We found Annabelle, right? And so we started a year out with this process, and we're doing things the right way because of the stakes are too high now. Like we have a lot of people that are depending on us to deliver. There's about 12, 15, 20, 50 more Annabelles out there. As long as we can keep this going, hopefully we'll build a strong alumni. And could you imagine 50 scholarship recipients like Annabelle out there making a difference in the community? That's how we get the next gems out of San Antonio ISD and some of these other, grooming some of those local young golfers out of San Antonio with the work, not only that we're doing, with Ray's doing, and there's a few other folks like Robert. Robert's my boy. I've known Robert for a long time. Robert will teach you, won't even ask you for a dime, and so Annabelle surrounded her. San Antonio has a lot of great people in the industry here. And I think as long as everybody has the same vision and about growing the game, intentionally growing the game, not just, again, access, but, through the process, throughout from beginning to end, talking about growing the game, because it's a long process. And so I think as long as we're all on the same page as that, and no one ego gets in the way, or this is my territory type of thing, I think things will be fine. And of course, we got my boy Andy sharing love and spreading that information out. I mean, I don't know any other podcast that does this. but especially for the golf industry. So, man, shout out to what you do, and that's why we feel I don't do sponsorships, right? And so when I met you and I saw what you did, it's like I just naturally wanted to support you, whether I had an apparel brand or not. I just feel like the work that you do is important, and people need to hear the messages that you have week in and week out. So we definitely appreciate you.
Well, thank you. I'm blessed to have people, to meet people and have people on the show like Annabelle, like you, and to be partnered with Blackbird Golf Company. And I got my league that I need to give a shout out to. I got my Four Bros League. If you don't have a home, we have a home for you. Never golf alone. Four Bros, never golf alone. And right here, I got Ray Garza right here. He said, "Much love, brother." He is the man. He's the man. He got me out of my dark times. He got me out of my dark times. He really did. He cleaned me up. I still got some work to do, but you know what? I went to his place hopeless, and I left feeling like $1 million, even though my swing wasn't fixed. It wasn't fixed yet.
Well,
but you know what? He gave me hope.
Yeah, I think what it is, man, when you take people think, oh, I take a lesson, I should see improvements right away. They're not understanding that it's a long process to change bad habits, right? And so it's a continuous. Sometimes it takes you 6 months to really start feeling those changes, and so I think sometimes we get a little too ambitious and too about, okay, I took a lesson, now I should be
well, you ain't lying. You ain't lying. What month are we in? June, right? I saw him January during the Christmas break, like a New Year break. Yeah. It's January, and I'm finally playing better 6 months later. Yeah. But I'm telling you, the proof is in the pudding. He didn't beat me down, and he's amazing. He's amazing. He's the golf whisperer. And you know what? I'm so thankful to have his support. And he was on the show last week. And again, thank you, Demonte. Appreciate you being on tonight. You have a good night, brother.
You too, man.
Thank you.
I was going to say that, I had the privilege of working with, Ray Garza out in Onpar since he first opened it up, actually, my freshman year of high school. He invited me out there, and from then on, it was more of we built that strong relationship. Now I'm, doing as much as I can for him, with him at the elementary, at his summer golf clinics, things like that, just, to pay my fees back to him, I guess, as a big thank you, which are actually not nothing compared to everything he's given me and supported me through. So, Coach Garza, thank you very much.
He's the man. He's a good person, and like Demonte said, he means what he says, and he does what he says he's going to do. He really does, and I'm so thankful to know him and for him to be my friend. Now, last question as we finish this podcast up tonight: who are you playing your final round of golf with? And ever, this is ever, like ever.
Definitely my dad. My dad being one. Probably. I'm going to call out Coach Arnie, because I've been asking him to play with me for I don't know how long already, and he's just such a busy guy. So that'll be finally my chance to play with him. And probably Coach Tony too. The relationships I've built with them, they're more than my coach. They're my supporter, my mentor. Now they're my friends, but the fact that they push me, all three of them, my dad, and both coaches, they push me. They all have the same personality, so it's going to be a pretty hilarious round out there. Them teasing me, and but those are probably the three people I'd play my last round with.
All right, I want to thank you for being on the show, and I want to special thanks for all that you're doing for the young female golfers out there, and you're going to continue to open doors for young golfers out there. You got a lot of people out here on the supporting you. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to watch, that everybody get behind somebody. You have great people in your corner like Demonte, like Thor, like Ray Garza, Tony, Robert, Coach Ali, Arnie. You have so many great people that just want to see you succeed. And if you ever need help from me, I'm here too. You're more than welcome to reach out. But thank you so much, Annabelle, for being on the show. and we are looking forward to you. And we're going to be watching your career like we're going to be watching it grow. All right, and I know you're going to do some great things and continue to do great things.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
All right, have a good night.
Thank you. You too.
All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Amazing show, amazing talk. Gosh, man, I hate doing this show sometimes because I get emotion lotion. I get so it gets so real out here, and you know what? That's just my podcast is Nothing is OB, and that's the reason why I do this show is to get those same feels, to meet these great quality people. And I'm so looking forward to watching Annabelle's career. I know she's going to do some great things. She's going to, like I stated, she's going to open doors. She's going to change people's lives. And she's got a lot of great people in her corner. I want to thank Demonte. I want to thank Thor. I want to thank Blackbird Golf so much for their partnership, so much for being in my corner, supporting me. I want to thank Four Bros Golf League, my guys, Jeremiah, Chris, Charlie, Sergio, Jake, Rocky. I want to thank the board, for believing in me and believing in this podcast. Thanks so much, guys. Keep supporting the show. Looking forward to continually putting out great stuff. Don't forget to check out the second annual Blackbird Golf Invitational, Scholarship Invitational, to be held on Wednesday, October 19th of this year at beautiful Quarry Golf Course. Hey, guys, remember, in the game of life, nothing is OB.